The Congress then turned its gaze towards the anti-conversion law, also introduced by the BJP, and reversing major changes, of course, in textbooks, which manifested clearly the BJP's ideology. Now, in its recent attempt to de-BJfy Karnataka, the Siddaramaiah government has announced that it shall pay compensation for families of victims of alleged communal killings in coastal Karnataka. The government announced 25 lakh compensation each from Karnataka's Chief Minister's Relief Fund for the families of B. Masood, Mohammad Fazil, Abdul Jalil and Deepak Rao. What stands out is Siddaramaiah's attempt to put a stop to communal rumblings in coastal Karnataka, which is known for contentious issues like the hijab. It's an expansion of its Mohabbat ki dukaan is the question that we are asking, has been espoused time and time again by Rahul Gandhi. What is exactly the Congress party trying to do in what is also called the Hindutva laboratory, that being coastal Karnataka? Joining me to speak more on this are several guests, but in the studio, my colleagues Kartikeya Sharma and Verghese Abraham, and also the guest from outside, Professor Chambi Puranik, who is a political analyst, and Bhaskar Hegde, my colleague, who is from News9. Namaskara to both of you, but let me start the conversation with my colleagues here. So, Kartikeya, Karnataka is done and dusted so far as the Congress is concerned. Now, coastal Karnataka, like I said in my introductory, that it is known to be the Hindutva laboratory. You speak about vigilantism, you speak about hijab, everything, but look at the compensation. It is going to both communities. So it seems like Congress is very, very eagerly trying to do a balancing act with its eye on 2024.
I think there are two things. First, I think there's a Karnataka model in play. Secondly, there is a push on part of the Congress party nationally and at Karnataka level to say that we not only want minority votes, but we will not be shying away from the fact that minority votes from us. So for them to announce relief to the victims of communal riots is to wade into BJP's turf, or BJP's turf which they created after 1980s when the coastal Karnataka started to get polarized. I would say after 1990s, and after demolition of Babri Masjid, it was very, very clear that the coastal Karnataka has turned for Bharatiya Janata Party. So for them to take up these issues is to wade into a different territory. Congress never did that when it formed government in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. All of them were saying, no, we are Hanuman Bhakt, this and that. Even today, Kamal Nath, he's an old timer, and he called Priyanka Gandhi, and there was a religious service which took place. But Karnataka represents a different sort of politics, and I think that is closer to what Rahul Gandhi is doing, and it is also closer to what Siddaramaiah wants, which is Ahinda. And the reason why I am saying this is because coastal Karnataka means tough choice for the Congress party, because anytime it can get accused as anti-Hindu, anytime, very easily. But for them, if they take up those issues of coastal Karnataka, take a position on it, they take a national position.
Right.
Because issues are national.
Absolutely.
Hijab is a national issue.
Of course.
Communal violence is a national issue. So by wading into that territory, they are taking up national issues. And lastly, I would close my argument like this. Not only they are taking position, but they are reversing the decisions of the Bharatiya Janata Party government, which they did not do in any other states, including Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Bihar in this case, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. They didn't do it in Punjab. They haven't done a thing in Himachal Pradesh.
Right. So, which is pretty much what I said when I opened this conversation, and it's good that Kartikeya has finished it there. Verghese, I'm going to ask you something. You look at Karnataka elections, by this it seems, because that region, like we were discussing in the newsroom, Verghese, people speak, more Tulu speaking people are there, more Konkani speaking people are there, not Kannadiga as it were. Anyway, Karnataka is a beautiful state, that's what I like. You speak Tulu, Marathi, Telugu, Kannada and so many other languages. I want to ask you, is it a consolidation of Kannadiga, as in your name could be Fasil, your name could be, Hemant, it doesn't matter. Let's consolidate and put, kind of medicines over what they have faced to make this thing that we are for Mohabbat ki dukaan, which Rahul Gandhi keeps speaking about. We are not part of the Nafrat ka bazaar.
Well, rightly pointed out, when it comes to the coastal districts of Karnataka, it is a very, very diverse population,
Yes.
especially when it comes to languages. There is, the Muslim population speaks a language called Beri, and they are there in a lot of numbers there. And then you have, of course, you have the Malayalam speaking population as well, among Muslims also. You have the Malayalam speaking populations, and then you have the Konkani as well as the Tulu populations. So they do significantly amount together the others in that linguistic category. But the Tulu speaking population has been the population that has been the backbone for the BJP than the Kannada populations when it comes to the coastal districts. Because the Tulu population did find that they were in direct competition with the Muslims and Christians when it came to the coastal belt, especially for economic resources, especially for educational qualifications. So this is what led to it. But now, the Congress has been developing their Tulu population or their leaders from the Tulu population for quite some time, and its dividends are slowly being seen as in the elections that we saw in 2023. Interestingly enough, they have been able to keep a check on the SDPI by conversation and also by trying to engage with them. They kept the Muslim vote from splitting in the Congress in the coastal Karnataka by ensuring that the SDPI did not eat into its Muslim vote as such. So those things have given dividends to a large degree. But now, buoyed by the kind of 136 seats that they've been able to have, they are now directly going to a bastion which they think they can make inroads into.
Yeah, but let me go to Professor, because I think it is about the larger, expansive view of the Congress. And look at the results. I mean, the Congress has done very well for itself this time, not brilliantly well. From 3 to 6 is just about okay, whereas the BJP has come down in coastal Karnataka. Professor Chambe Puranik, I want to ask you, this is a very interesting point that Verghese brought up. I want to ask you two questions. One is, it is all very well politically correct to say, look at this, Congress is, trying to heal the wounds of all communities. But then I want you to focus on the electoral gains of it and the image, as it were, of the Congress, because now the Congress is eyeing the 2024 elections because Karnataka is done. Number two, what one has constantly read about is that in coastal Karnataka, the strife between different communities is because of competitive communalism. Would you agree? Because, my shop versus your shop, whether I'm sending agarbattis in front of a temple or any other religious building, or you are. So first is this going to help the image of the Congress by trying to reverse this, what it calls as injustice? And number two is, has it always been more mercantile than anything else?
Yeah, I agree with Karthikeyan's presentation about the fact that people of coastal Karnataka, they are not, all of them will not speak Kannada. They at home and even in transactions, they speak either Konkani or Tulu, or even to some extent Malayalam, which is not there, only the Kasaragod adjacent area. So there is a kind of divide. Apart from the communal divide, Hindu, Muslim and all that, there is also a question of identity politics that is there in the coastal Karnataka for long. That has been there. And in the last election, that is 2023 election, 3 months before, look at the whatever stupidity or the kind of fanatical statements that Nalin Kumar Patel, the BJP president, made. He said, don't speak about development issues, infrastructure, employment and other whatever things that are. They are minor. The major issue is a larger kind of identity politics and all that. That is the one that perhaps made it more aggressive. And also, in terms of the people realizing that there is need for this kind of whatever that Nalin Kumar is talking, and that should be, paid back, or replied in the election. So the polarization went very, very strong, unlike the previous kind of situation. So therefore, you see, from one Kadar was there earlier, 2018, in the Mangalore, Dakshina Kannada. Now it is 3. That means to show that people have shown their anger. Earlier, Sudha, you know, there used to be a victory margin of 15 to 18,000
Yes,
votes for
true.
very BJP candidate. Now it has come down. And also, the kind of whatever situation that was there, communal divide in terms of communal killings or murders, which were going on. It's from 2017 onwards. These things have been, I think, improved.
Right.
Increased. So therefore, the moment Chief Minister, when he went and met only Praveen Netharu's family, and he did not go to the Muslim victim, and that particular thing perhaps made people to realize we are not so communally divided people, including South Kerala or coastal Karnataka. I must give the benefit of doubt for those people. We have lots of friends. Earlier, they were part of Mysore University also. So we used to have that kind of communal harmony and all that. So BJP has deliberately brought in Mandir Masjid or Hindu-Muslim kind of divide that has caused. So therefore, I would say that in 2024 elections, Mr. Siddaramaia's a very tactical move. As I said earlier, he's a very, large-hearted man. Though he is very crafty at times in taking decisions or keeping himself as chief minister, as against D.K. Shivakumar. Those are all political kind of maneuverings. The fact that Siddaramaiya has said that we will not distinguish.
So basically, you're saying it's a very smart, prudent move. Yeah. Bhaskar, let me bring you in and bring back the focus on what we were asking initially when we started this, is that, reversing anti-cow slaughter, reversing textbook, reversing whatever was injected and introduced, whether it's Savarkar or Hegdewar, etc. Also the anti-conversion bill. But this kind of an outreach that the Congress is doing, what kind of a message do you see behind this? Do you see that this is clearly to see the Ahinda which Kartikeya spoke about? Siddaramaiya is the fountainhead of Ahinda. But apart from that, do you also see that this is a larger, messaging that, look, we are not just, trying to do what is called vendetta politics, but we are doing politics for the good of every Kannadiga who lives in Karnataka?
Sudha, I would like to approach this subject from a different perspective. See, because if you read very closely the actions of politicians, they try to package it and give some kind of color or some kind of label to their very, very personal actions also. I think even in this case also, what happened, if you see very closely, BJP under pressure from RSS leaders, they gave compensation to Netharu's family. So when Congress came to power, I think Congress leaders were under pressure from Muslim leaders that, see, our family, our children also died. We were under pressure. You did not give anything. Now you give compensation and send a message to the rival camp. This is a very, very basic personal level kind of fight between BJP and Congress. So what Siddaramaiya did, by giving compensation to families, 3 families of Muslims and 1 family of Hindus, of course, he gave a good packaging and covered it up with 1 Hindu family also, that he belongs to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So, but I think I have one more issue. See, in Karnataka, if not in India, Karnataka doesn't have a kind of act or so to give compensation to communal violence victims. So right now they are giving compensation from Chief Minister's Relief Fund. When BJP gave compensation to victims, Congress made a hue and cry saying that it is an abuse of Chief Minister's Relief Fund disbursement. So when Congress gave it, so Congress was mum, the leaders were mum, and they're saying that, so see, now we are large-hearted and we are doing this. So this is the first part. When we come to the second part, I think whatever the Muslim vote that Congress could benefit or reap, they've already reached the maximum. I don't think they can go beyond this, because if you see the STPI or whatever, all the PFI and activities and their electoral benefits, only Congress benefited, not even JDS, not STPI. I think Muslims vote, if at all they have a eye on 2024 to get more Muslim votes, I don't think it will go beyond this.
All right. Kartikeya, do you concur with what Bhaskar Hegde is saying, that, you know, it will not go beyond this? Maybe this is just a flash in the pan. But, you know, many people are also, like you said, that Ahinda, that is of course Siddaramaia's thing. But do you think that this is a larger goal that they have? He says it will only work now and will not work, let's say, in the future. But as of now, don't you think that their eye is also on trying to be the front runner so far as, you know, 2024 is concerned, and therefore this messaging is very, very important. This is optics.
I think there are two things here. One is that Muslim vote doesn't work in isolation. The Muslim or the minority vote works in collaboration with other caste and religion. It is like saying that, which organizer wrote itself, that Prime Minister charisma is not enough to win you elections.
Yes, cover story. Yeah.
That was the cover story. They said that failure of local leadership was there, governance issue was there, and Prime Minister, despite campaigning so hard, could not deliver Karnataka. So they touched a fundamental issue, which means they basically said that Hindutva plus Labharti plus market plus mobile plus governance, which is Hindutva plus. Now, in context of Congress party, obviously they don't have a Hindutva vote bank, which is correct. Now, Congress can aspire to have vote banks of those on which Bharatiya Janata Party polarizes. My point is that what Congress has started to do after Karnataka is to be unapologetic about its minority vote. And for this reason, if you look at the tweets, today Rahul Gandhi turns 53.
Yes.
He's not young anymore. We can't say that he's a young politician. What has he done? He has made Congress party, when we say Mohabbat ki dukaan ka matlab is not about you love your neighbor. Mohabbat ki dukaan is a reference in context of the minorities, that you are doing politics of othering. It's as simple that there's
Nafrat ka bazaar.
Nafrat ka bazaar, it's a political message. So when you said Nafrat ka bazaar, Mohabbat ki dukaan, it is specifically in context of secular politics versus communal politics.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, this is not the first time he is taking a leaf out of Jawaharlal Nehru. Very few people would remember, if you go through the speeches of Panditji as printed in newspapers, Panditji's first election was fought on the issue of secularism.
Phulpur?
That was the seat, but his speeches across India was on secularism. His election was on social harmony. So what Rahul Gandhi is doing is not new, but it is doing that unapologetic form of politics.
Yeah, but that was a country which was young after partition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now Rahul Gandhi feels that time is ripe for him to do that sort of a politics.
Right.
I'm no one to say that this country is facing the same dilemma what it faced in 1952. No, I think that would be a very broad sweep and mistaking the larger narrative. What has happened over a period of time is that there's a Hindutva narrative, and in that Hindutva narrative, a lot of moderate voices are out within the BJP. Could you have imagined Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Dhami, Mr. Fadnavis talking about love jihad 5 years ago? Even Anurag Thakur went on to become minister after his Goli Maro statement. Before that, Mr. Anurag Thakur was in political wilderness.
Right.
So my point is simple, that Congress is pushing a different type of politics. It has tasted success on that politics, and it wants to replicate that in states like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Yogi Adityanath's politics of Hindutva cannot have a counter Hindutva politics.
Right.
But you can have that Kalyan Singh movement. Do you remember in 2009
Yes,
what happened?
I do.
People thought that it's because of Rahul Gandhi, Manmohan Singh and other things that 22 seats came in Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
But later, when the data was analyzed, it was because of Kalyan Singh. Kalyan Singh joined Samajwadi Party. Lock, stock and barrel. In more than 30 districts, Muslims voted for the Congress Party.
Right.
So the subtle point I'm trying to make is that there is a shift within the Congress Party. They are very afraid of the fact that people like Asaduddin Owaisi and many more leaders at state level might chip away what belongs to them. They are consolidating that. And it is this context that I said, which I feel that the coastal Karnataka experiment is important for them.
Right. You know, Varghese, I want to, because in Karnataka, when you look at coastal Karnataka, it's called the Hindutva laboratory. But we have seen, like Professor Chambi Puranik was saying, Muslim family would say, why have you not done it for us? You remember Praveen Netaru, right? Now they have brought up Deepak Rao, which is a 2018 case, which is good. I mean, a death is a death is a death. But I am asking you, then Muslim would say, why are you going to their, you know, so there has been, it's been what the Congress has done it, okay, I'll be fair to you, I'll also be fair to you. But overall, when you look at it, the Hindutva laboratory, don't you think it's erroneous because it is more of a communal laboratory than a Hindutva laboratory? Why do we call, why are people, I mean, I want to ask you, I will go and ask Professor and Bhaskar also on this. Because it seems there is more communal strife there, it's sectarian.
Can I take that question?
Of course.
You see, there has also been
hijab,
a push on part of the RSS to conflate the word Hindutva with Hinduism. I was part of that 3-day meeting in 2018 and I got the opportunity to ask that question to Mohan Bhagwat. तो वो जो 3 दिन थे इस पे मोहन भागवत जी ने मीटिंग की थी, टू आंसर ऑल द क्वेश्चंस ऑन आरएसएस. आई कैटेगोरिकली रिमेंबर भागवत जी सेइंग दैट आप हिंदू धर्म को हिंदुत्व बोल दीजिए या हिंदुत्व को हिंदू धर्म बोल दीजिए, बात एक ही है. सो द कन्फ्लेशन ऑफ वर्ड हैज हैपेंड, सो इट बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट पॉलिटिकली फॉर एनीवन टू अटैक बीजेपी. कल आप हिंदुत्व पे अगर अटैक करेंगे, बोलेंगे आपने हिंदू धर्म पे अटैक कर दिया. अगर आप हिंदू धर्म के बारे में बोलेंगे रिफॉर्मिस्ट पोजीशन से, आप बोलेंगे ये तो हिंदुत्व पे अटैक है. सो इट it
becomes interchangeable.
So this has to be understood that certain, and that is why certain additions, deletions took place in Golwarkar's book, and he admitted कि आज के लिए वो प्रासंगिक नहीं है गोलवारकर जी के, इसलिए हटा दी हमने. जो चीज प्रासंगिक है वो रख ली हमने. My point is that there is a shift in which the major opposition party, which is Congress now, a reduced opposition party, is doing its politics, and Karnataka is an example of that. The way Modi changed BJP via Gujarat, my argument is Congress is reshaping itself via Karnataka.
What do you say, Varghese?
Well, we are concentrating too much on 3 districts, in fact. One, we are talking about Dakshina Karnataka, Mangaluru, as well as Uttarakhand. I mean, to an extent, that area also, Mangaluru. Udupi. Now, Udupi is the seat of what we call as South, probably we can say after some of the centers in Tamil Nadu, Udupi is the seat of Hindu philosophy and Hindu ideation. And it has been the base for Hindutva also to a large extent. But what has happened over there is interesting. In
it's
the
more
sense
of a Vaishnavite belt.
It's a Vaishnavite belt.
Lord Krishna, Udupi Krishna, Varghese.
But
Best
there is also
temple, by the way, best temple food.
You have Mokambika Kshetra also.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is a very religious belt as well. Now, I mean, the BJP.
But Varghese, the only thing I'd like to say is, because a belt is religious does not mean that it becomes a lab for Hindutva. I mean to say Mathura is very religious. I come from Agra. For years they voted for different political parties. For years people from Socialist Party would win. Doesn't mean that a place which is religious need to have a Hindutva element. It's like saying Madurai में तो बहुत लोग पूजा करते हैं इसलिए वो हिंदुत्व क्यों जाएंगे. ऐसा नहीं है. मतलब I principally disagree that religious places का मतलब ये है कि वहाँ हिंदुत्व है.
No, what I was trying to say is that it was easier to consolidate on that level at a time.
Yeah. So, but
at a particular time.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm interjecting, Varghese, because I want to go to Professor Chambi Puranik after what you said, Kartikeya, and what you said, Varghese Abraham. Professor Chambi Puranik, Bhaskar, both of you. You see, Karnataka is not the the archetypical kind of Hindu bastion. It has got Basavanna. We've grown up reading Vachanas. You have Akka Mahadevi. You Bhakti Bob. I mean, you throw a stone. These are people who actually rejected caste and rejected traditional idol worship. Udupi Krishna, great. But then there are other sects also. So I want to ask you, how did this coastal Karnataka become the Hindu laboratory is my question, which now the Congress is trying to reverse to some fashion. Professor, you take that first and then I go to Bhaskar.
Yeah, I agree with Bhaskar Hegde when he said what has happened in 2023 will not repeat, or in the same fashion it will go in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, because
Okay.
Lok Sabha election, it's a different agenda, but the state assembly, the kind of whatever Hindu-Muslim divide was so deep that for last 3 years, BJP has been working on that, the politically motivated murders, they were blown into disproportionate level to say that it is Hindu versus Muslims and all that, and the politically motivated murders were planned also in order to whip up such emotional feelings. But I think that will not work in 2024 elections. But still, I would say that BJP has a chance to improve its image. If there is a change of BJP president from Nalin Kumar Patil to some other broad-minded or more liberal person, not very aggressive like him or narrow in his approach and all that, I think BJP may try to improve its image. And then both the coastal Karnataka 2 seats, Lok Sabha seats, including Chikmagalur, which is part of whatever delimitation that has happened, those 3 constituencies, perhaps there is a chance for BJP to set right whatever the losses that it has made in 2024 elections, because number one, it is not local issues. Number two, it is Modi image and the Modi factor. The issues of development, whatever the kinds of things that are happening in favor of Modi, both nationally and internationally. I don't think Congress will have enough fodder or machinery to fight on see that BJP is prevented for success.
Right, Professor.
So I
but
would bet that
the organizer said, like Kartikeya was quoting it, they said Modi's charisma, and in the context of Karnataka, is not working. You need to focus on roti, on food, uta. Those are the issues.
Yeah, it is there, but Modi issue, why I am saying Modi is, the people who vote for Lok Sabha, they always consider in the national interest. And South Canara being a highly literate state, it has a literate district, they have got more broader kind of assessment than the local issues of fighting on Hindu religion or rituals. So I would say, still I feel that there is scope for BJP to improve its position. If not, the total victory. But out of 2 or 3 seats in the coastal Karnataka, if BJP even wins 2 seats, that will be a record performance. But as on today, the whatever euphoria or the kind of whatever kind of claims Congress is making, it is only for 2023 elections, and the post elections they want to show that they are more secular. Truly, Congress is more secular. BJP could have been secular, but it can't be, because Hindutva is its own major identity. The rest of it is, the broader kind of unity of people as against the communal forces. I think, that way things will work out, because elections are purely on political considerations, not on the basis of local issues itself, because national issues are also equally important. I would bet on the national issues taking prime place during the 2024
Kartikeya wants to say something.
You see, there are 2 things. No lab is permanent lab in Indian politics. We could have said the left's biggest lab, West Bengal. Where is left? It has collapsed. The Congress hegemony ended with Ram Janambhoomi. BJP had 2 seats in 1984 elections. Then it went on to win 89 seats with 8.73% of votes when Rajiv Gandhi lost election. The point is simple. What Congress is doing in coastal Karnataka is a politics which it wants to, a change which it wants to effect in other parts of the country. It is a push in coastal Karnataka. I am not saying that the Congress party is going to sweep all the Lok Sabha seats or all the Vidhan Sabha seats. That is one part of it. The push is ideological in nature. This is not an organizational push. Compensation is not an organizational push. I must clarify. It's an ideological push. Organizational push would have been on ground. There would have been peace committees, sabha, baitte, statements aate, which Jayant Chaudhary tried doing it, but he failed against Yogi Adityanath. Bhaichara rallies. Before he launched his election campaign, I saw one of them. He launched at least 100 Bhaichara rallies. What was Bhaichara rallies? Muslim Jats and Hindu Jats, Mula Jat and Hindu Jat. That is what he was trying to do. The Jats would vote for Chaudhary Charan Singh, whether he was a Muslim Jat or a Hindu Jat. So similarly, I think it's more of an ideological push. And secondly, when we talk about you are, Professor, you are using a word which people used to use for Congress in 1990s. And as a child, as a student, I read in Asian Age, Tina factor, if I am not wrong. There is no alternative.
Yeah.
So, the life is such that it has reversed, and this Tina factor is being used for Bharatiya Janata Party, and Congress is being said, yeah, you have nothing to do at center because you are no force. But I would only humbly like to put this, there are times when this country has voted despite powerful prime ministers. Indira ji thi, you had Morarji Bhai becoming the prime minister. You had Rajiv Gandhi and you had VP Singh on motorcycle. You had people like Deve Gowda becoming prime minister, and you had Vajpayee stitching 22 political parties to create a space when the Congress was a behemoth. So I am saying that things have the capacity to change. Yes, there is no comparison of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with any politician in this country. There is no doubt about it. There is no disagreement here. But to say BJP cannot lose, I disagree there.
Right. And what Kartikeya says basically is that change is the only constant. We do not have something etched in stone. So Bhaskar Hegde, I am asking you, because what really strikes me is, if this is an ideological push, like Kartikeya Sharma says, I want to ask you that BJP being an extremely smart party, they are clever, they are smart, they know how to actually work the strings of politics. What is it now remaining for the BJP to experiment in coastal Karnataka? I am coming back to coastal Karnataka, although Varghese says, why only focusing? But I think our focus is, if this ideological push works here, it may work elsewhere. So Bhaskar, what do you think? What is now remaining? Like in Hindi we say Turup ka patta, in English we say trump card. What will it do?
I think it's too early to say what BJP would play in 2024.
Right.
Because Congress, yes, I would partly agree with Kartikeya, because I would agree with Varghese. Because see, when you say Congress is taking the leaf out of Karnataka, that experiment should be time tested in terms of electoral dividends. So whatever they are doing now, actually, it's a kind of experiment. It may not be extrapolated to entire India. So what they have done for 3 districts need not necessarily be applicable to the rest of 29 districts even in Karnataka. If I would say, if you go and hold a poll today in Karnataka, people may not know that Siddaramaiah has given compensation to these 4 people. I would bet, because people are worried that these 5 schemes, they are not able to give forms online and offline. They are not getting facilities. Right. So people are really upset. So that is a kind of, hue and cry among women, I'm saying, because they want to get the benefit at the earliest. So this messaging is partly true from the Congress point of view. But if you think of a communication, that whether the message has been passed successfully, I really doubt, number one. Number two, what BJP could do to reverse the trend, particularly in districts like Dakshin Kannada, Udupi, and Uttar Kannada, Chikmagalur, and Kodagu, I think it is not the ideological issue. I would much rather say, because the anti-incumbency against the candidates or the sitting MLAs were so huge and so deep. See, take for instance the Kodagu district. Kodagu districts, if you 2 MLAs or both BJP MLAs lost. Kodagu is still a BJP bastion, and if you go and ask anyone there, they would much rather probably say in favor of BJP now, because they were very worried and upset with MLAs who did not work at all. So I think, see, yes, initially as a Congress party revival plan, as part of it, this is a very good move, no doubt. Number one. Number two, whether BJP should worry about this, I really doubt, because BJP need not worry about its vote base at all. Congress has reached its peak in coastal Karnataka. And remember one thing, I think the trend of voting in coastal Karnataka will not be influenced by the rest of Karnataka, and even vice versa. That's it.
Sure, Bhaskar. It's not going to impact the rest of Karnataka. Varghese, go on, Varghese, you were.
No, see, I was looking at Bhaskar Hegde and he pointed out it. But here there was a punishment factor. What is the punishment factor? There have been deaths of several of these karyakartas from different Sangh Parivar organizations. And there was this insecurity factor. And because of this insecurity factor, and they did not get the kind of security that they expected their leaders or the party to give. In many of the traditional, like Mudubidri and all these areas, traditionally there were losses at least of 20%. This was this BJP, voter who is going against and voting against his own party to send a message across. That also aided in the Congress victory in many places. But at the same time, it was also a message being sent to the BJP saying, don't take us for granted. We have issues over here that you're not looking into. So what is the Congress taking up with? They are taking up the issues of these killings itself with the compensation factor. So it was also a punishment factor of voting that was seen in coastal belt, where people said that you are not sticking to the issue. And of course, it landed up with Katil also not taking up those issues, saying don't talk about development and all that. But at the same time, the issue about the deaths, the killings that was happening, that was also something that went in the mind of the voters. And a lot of BJP or hardcore BJP loyalists did punish the party when it comes to this.
Right. Kartikeya, I want to ask you something that if like Varghese says it was punishment, but look at the hypocrisy. Like Bhaskar says, it may not be remembered. Who knows in entire of Karnataka that they are paying through Chief Minister's Relief Fund 25 lakhs to those who were killed in sectarian violence. But when the whole Bajrang Bali thing happened, you remember when they released the manifesto, they spoke about they will ban Bajrang Dal. Okay, fine. You and I discussed Bajrang Bali has nothing to do with Bajrang Dal. But when the BJP ran away with it, what did all the Congress people do? They went to all the temples of Anjaneya. So when it suits them, they do it. So somewhere do you think that this whole outreach of Karnataka, they will look through and they will say कि ये drama है, ये फिर से कर रहे हैं. It doesn't really matter for us.
You see, there are two things here. Correct. I don't disagree with you. You see, after the disastrous performance of 2019, 14 and 19, Congress has understood one thing, that soft Hindutva plank is not going to work for them. It is very clear. You will not be even team B, you will be team C. So they understand that the soft Hindutva plank is not going to work. You have some old politicians who feel that Muslims are not a big issue in their state. So they should be allowed to do politics the way they want to do. And like people like Kamalnath are way senior for Rahul Gandhi to or for them to be pushed by Rahul Gandhi. He will do exactly what he wants to do, way senior. So, there will be a post-Kamalnath era in Madhya Pradesh for the Congress, but till Kamalnath is there, it's very difficult. So that is why you find Kamalnath doing his own stuff there, doesn't give a damn. Coming back to this issue, which I am repeatedly saying is a shift, and I'm repeatedly saying that it's a Karnataka model. It's like very few people fail to realize that Prime Minister Modi was creating a Gujarat model when he started calling industrialists for summit. A lot of people said, "अरे क्या है? ये तो copy कर रहे हैं. अरे क्या है? इनने 4 industrialists अपने गुजराती बिठा लिए." But what was he doing? There was a messaging which was happening. What was the messaging? Economy की बात बीजेपी कर सकती है. सिर्फ कल्चर वल्चर की बात करने के लिए बीजेपी नहीं बनी है. So he shifted the discourse, and please remember that the BJP came on the issue of good governance. There was no Hindutva campaign in 2014, and even in 2019 Lok Sabha election, they came on the issue of nationalism, national security. Hindutva campaign बीच में काम करती है इनकी. लोक सभा को चुनाव नहीं हुआ उस पे, लेकिन वो template set कर देता है. It sets the template, and Congress knows that if you set the template of Lok Sabha chunav on Hindutva, they are nowhere. That is why there is a counter template. You spoke about Bajrang Dal. Didn't it lead to Muslim consolidation in Karnataka?
Of course it did.
It did?
Yeah.
And what did, and Congress was very, and Congress kept on saying that it was not a mistake. All the pravaktas came on our program and said, no, they should be banned. Hanuman ji ka to Bajrang Dal se koi lena dena nahi hai. Or what was BJP saying? They were conflating Bajrang Dal with Hanuman ji. And everyone knows that there is nothing to, Bajrang Dal is a political entity floated by RSS, and Hanumanji is a god. But there is no comparison.
I know.
But they conflated it.
Right.
So my proposition is simple, that there is a shift which is taking place in the Congress party, and that shift is being pushed by an atheist in the system known as Mallikarjun Kharge. I mean to say he's the
And Siddaramaiah, who supposed to be a professor, will correct me and say, no, Sudha, it is wrong. Siddaramaiah is not an atheist. But then he has many
let
times.
me say the political atheists are practicing Buddhism.
No practice. Professor, I'll come to the atheist factor later, but I want to ask you something. We all remember the flower seller's murder there. He was standing there, 5 people, no Varghese, came and attacked him and he died. Don't you think instead of compensation is very good when you look at it from the humanitarian angle, but don't you think it is more of a law and order problem that the ruling dispensation now in Karnataka, that is the Congress, should be addressing, Professor?
Yeah, the Congress itself is now is in a confusion. There is no consolidation of the victory, except that they have taken power. I mean, they have assumed power and they have formed a ministry and all that. It's not, I mean, the entire government is still not working. Their aim of giving better governance or whatever the best alternative to BJP, which faced very severely the anti-incumbency factor. And also, most of the Lingaites, they shifted their loyalty from BJP to Congress because of Yediyurappa and Jagdish Shettar and Lakshman Saudhi factor and all that. The third thing is, even JDS also could not retain Vakaligas who could have definitely given a kind of verdict in favor of JDS. So many, I mean, surprise things have happened. I think it's a historical kind of mandate, not in favor of Congress, but in favor of the kind of new awareness or the voters' assessment of the performance of the state or the government. So that way, I think your point of saying that Congress is trying to, get benefit out of this gesture, these gestures or sympathy factor and all that, it will not last long. I agree with Mr. Ranjay Hegde when he mentioned that it will not go up to 2024 elections. Public memory is very short, and still I repeat and say that Modi factor will definitely be an important factor other than the local issues of communal divide or Lingaites, Vakaligas shifting here and there. I think there is a new kind of alignments that are going to take place depending on the performance of the Congress. So Rahul Gandhi is not taken seriously by Karnataka people. You should not give credit to Rahul Gandhi for the victory of Congress in Karnataka. You should give credit to BJP's lackluster performance and failure to prepare and take on Congress in a very aggressive matching fashion. That it did not do. So there are
Professor, I only have to say, as a child, these are the arguments which I heard for the Congress party. यूपी में कहते थे कि विपक्ष चुनाव नहीं जीतता, कांग्रेस चुनाव हारती है. आज आप उसका कह रहे हैं कि बीजेपी क्या बोलते हैं, विपक्ष चुनाव नहीं जीतता, बीजेपी चुनाव हारती है. See how things
change. That's what Kartikeya was saying. Nothing is etched in stone. Things are fluid. They keep changing. Bhaskar, I'm completely running out of time and my producer is telling me in my ear that I need to hurry up. I want to ask you something. Do you think, okay, both of you have said very clearly that this is just a blip. It's not going to become this huge balloon with which Congress can run. But one thing, do you look at it that instead of concentrating on caste, this whole coastal Karnataka push is more of a communal push, as in communally being balanced push rather than Vakaliga, Lingayat, Reddy, so on and so forth?
I agree, Sudha, what you said, because it's basically a communal push, not related to caste, and it may go nowhere, because see what happens now, in the absence of a proper legal law to back this kind of disbursing compensation, if you use your discretion to give compensation for the under political pressure or otherwise, I think this may not go nowhere.
All right, so that's you are saying that it will go nowhere, but let's see what we are talking about today. If you can just zoom in. Yes, that's it. Congress Coastal Karnataka push, Udupi, Mangaluru, Dakshina Kannada. We'll have to wait and see, and I quite agree with what with both actually, Varghese as well as Kartikeya Sharma. But Kartikeya Sharma more, nothing is etched in stone. That's the beauty of Indian politics. Kuch bhi ho sakta hai. Thank you so much, Professor Puranik, and also Bhaskar, for joining us on this debate. And thanks, I wrote to both of you. Our focus on Karnataka will continue. You will see more and more stories on Karnataka. But as of now, for all the other news and analysis, this is your destination. News9 Live. Keep watching.
Hello, baby. Can we talk on a video call?
रात में एक मैसेज हाय का मैसेज आया, मैं एक्सेप्ट किया, हाय हेलो हुआ और जैसे मैंने ऑन किया तो उसके वीडियो पर न्यूड वीडियो आया और मैं घबरा के अगर ये